This video is a summary from Carlsberg's presentation at the SEEBURGER Nordic Summit 2012, presented by Jacob Carlsberg, Global Category Manager IT at Carlsberg. The presentation is about Carlsberg's supply chain integration in SAP, with the title Business Process Integration with Small and Medium Suppliers. In the presentation, we will get information about the background situation, what is the benefits of integrating suppliers, what is the business process in focus, an overview of the solution, WebEDI, and why Carlsberg chose SEEBURGER. In the end, you will find contact information if you want to know more or have any questions. Enjoy!
The situation was that we had this central organization within procurement, and we got a lot of ownership from the local suppliers and moved them into a global, you can say a global owned structure. So that meant that we could generalize and standardize the approach for our suppliers. And that meant that we could then handle all our purchase orders and invoices in a better way than we could do if we optimize it locally. What we then did was that in 2010, January 2010, then 6 months prior to where I took it over, we set up a Carlsberg Group Procurement Office. It's in Switzerland, and we have placed this as the only customer towards all our suppliers. So then we are controlling the whole flow of the purchase orders, credit notes, and invoices and order confirmations to all our suppliers, and we are then having our internal ERP system that takes care of our local group companies. We have approximately 19 onboarded into this solution, and the 19 breweries that we see is mainly in Northern and Western Europe. We have around 15 to 20,000 suppliers in total, big and small. We have been through a process of actually cutting this down because of, especially when we're centralizing, there's a lot of overlaps. So we have gone down even further. But this was the situation that we were in. Why did we then invest in it? What was the reasons for actually saying that we want to be closer with the suppliers? And what was the business case behind it? So by centralizing, the first point is that by centralizing procurement in one organization means that we need to have a more efficient process. We need to have it in an electronic format. Emails could work, but we wanted to integrate it even further in our ERP system. So that was one, especially when we were scaling up. So we didn't just start with 15,000 suppliers I'll have a rollout of where we are today. But we didn't start with the 15,000, so it's also a rollout of actually integrated them into this new, you can say, customer or Carlsberg Group procurement in Switzerland. The second point was much more about speed and efficiency with the communication that we have with our suppliers, and we saw a benefit that our purchase orders that were sent, we are sending them from our local group companies in Sweden. That one is sent inside our own system to Switzerland, and then it's printed out or emailed or faxed further to our suppliers. And that took quite some time, or at least it took time. I can't say if it took too much, but it took time. And then by having a WebEDI portal that goes directly out to our suppliers, and they will reach it within a few seconds. So that was one. The second one was that we had a lot of changes to our purchase orders. Fortunately, we, customers, you guys out there, order, sometimes many beers, and sometimes not that many. We like that when you order a lot. And then, our production and call-off people inside Carlsberg were having challenges in forecasting. So sometimes we had an experience in UK where we have the brewery, and then a truck was on the way to the customer with the goods, and then just 20 minutes after I left the brewery, had to change the purchase order and actually take it back. Or I thought actually it was coming, the truck was coming with cans and then coming to us. So it was from our supplier. So we had to change that, and that needs to be more efficient. And due to the manual way of doing it in the as-is, then that didn't reach him in time. This one has improved it because it really works much faster to reach the both the purchase order changes, but also the confirmation from the suppliers. And that's actually the last point is that when there is a purchase order in the system in the WebEDI, then the supplier will get an email notification so he can see it on spot. He doesn't have to go to the fax, or maybe he also sits at the computer when he reads an email. But at least they get a notification every time there's changes in the system. So that was a little bit about the speed and efficiency. Of course, we want to be more green. We are the most green brewer in the world. Just a small note, bragging a little bit. But we want to decrease the paper usage that we have in all our processes. And this was definitely one of them. Of course, there is something about the transactional cost. How many people are working on this process? Can we reduce that? So that was, of course, in the focus as well. Errors. We received some errors, actually. I mean, it's human nature that we, sometimes fax it to the wrong place, or, it doesn't get scanned in the best possible way. So there were some errors there. And by making that electronic as well, we minimized that as well. Then, of course, it's all about sticking to the processes. I would say that our guys in Poland are pretty good with, this is how we're doing it. But having it electronically, it always will require on the mapping if it is living up to our standards or if it's not. And if it doesn't live up to our standards, then it's rejected and it will be sent back. So it only happens once, because once it's in the system, then it's automatically generating it. But that was really also an interesting learning that we actually only experienced afterwards. We didn't experience it in the beginning. But that we had this correct format every time. The documents that we were focusing on were purchase orders and credit notes that we were sending to suppliers. But then what we were receiving was the order confirmation and the invoices. We were also sending order changes. So that's not in here, but that should, of course, be added. So that was kind of part of the scope that I took over back in September. So this is how it looks like. So we are sending them, the link to our portal. We call it webedi.carlsberg.com. And then this is actually how we set it up, with the green colors that we like and with the logo in the corner. We are considering actually improving the languages. That was one of the features that I really liked, was that you can just add the languages and simply just do a quick translation, and it's quite easy to do it. So when we're talking about Russia, then there's a need for doing that. But otherwise, we're sticking to the three languages here. They log in here, username and password, and they log in, and then they see this picture. So this is what they will actually not come exactly to this one. It will actually come to a page where it says, do you have any new purchase orders or any new documents? And they just press OK. And then you come in here. And then on the left side, you can see the different types of documents. So you can go in and see the orders, the order responses, invoices, and there's also an archive where everything is archived. And it will not be deleted in the archive, so you can actually go back. If we had it for 10 or 12 or 15 years, could go back that. It's internally, it's inside a Carlsberg server, so they're logging into our server. So they're actually just, going in and, almost touching our ERP system, and then, so we are allowing them access inside firewall. So we have all the orders here, and then you simply, press it, and you press down here for order response or order confirmation, and you go directly into an order confirmation. And just by clicking once again, if you're not changing anything, then you're actually sending the order response or order confirmation to Carlsberg and to the local brewery. You can go in, and then there's, of course, the ones that has been sent in the archive. When you go into the order response, it looks like the similar thing, and also in the invoices. We wanted to have a tool that was really simple and easy to use. I mean, I had to stand up in front of the management team in procurement, and I had to, show them a demo of what we were. Actually, it was SEEBURGER. You were one of the, or at the finalist stage, they didn't want to take a decision before they actually saw what they were going to buy. So I had to stand out there and be a sales guy for SEEBURGER. But what we actually chose was that it was simple and easy. That also helps when you are convincing the suppliers, because I don't know, sometimes we have a reputation as a multinational company to actually go out and, we have decided of this big tool and it's very complicated. So our suppliers were a bit scared in the beginning. But by, convincing them and showing them the tool and some presentations, it really helps also when the tool is easy to use. We also had our own ERP system, so Carlsberg is using SAP. So that was a good link with the SEEBURGER tool, and we're also using SEEBURGER for many other parts of our IT business. We actually evaluated. There was a lot of talk in the beginning in 2010, beginning of 11, where we wanted to integrate or have a VMI, whatever you call it, vendor managed inventory. Where the supply chain can, or actually our suppliers can go in and control and manage our inventories at the breweries. And that is one of the criteria that we could actually have that as an add-on to the IMAT1 or the WebEDI portal. Then of course the transparency. So we wanted to have more. We wanted to register what are we actually sending to our suppliers, put up a process and enhance that process. So that was basically the 5. Of course, I'm from procurement, so there's always a price element in it as well. So but that sums it up. Of if you look all things being equal, then I think these are the most valid points. The good thing about the tool as well is that we could make it specific to Carlsberg, so that we didn't have to have a purchase order and then it has to go from an order response, then it had to go into a delivery note. So we could plug and play with the tool. I think that was really a good point.